So it says, Howard Stern leaks Marvel role on Hot Mic. I'm effing miserable. And that's the part I want to talk about here. He talks about how he's going to be in Doctor Doom. I know that's what I said. But it's not going to be. I believe it's going to be a podcast. They do like an audio podcast reading thing, which I know DC is kind of doing the same thing. Winston Duke is playing Batman in like a Batman podcast. So it says a big time oops for Howard Stern or one of his staffers has Marvel fans buzzing because he accidentally let it slip. He's shooting a movie. He doesn't sound too hyped about it. I don't, from the other things that I've read, it's not a movie, it's a podcast, but we'll see. It says Howard spilled the tea during a break on his Sirius XM show, apparently not realizing his microphone was still hot. He chatted with producer, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Gary Delabate.
Yeah, I think so.
About possible guests for the show, and he noted that they won't be able to talk much in the summer. Co-host Robin Quivers asked if that meant he was working this summer, and Howard replied, "Well, I'm going to do Doctor Doom." He admits he's less than thrilled about it, saying, "But believe me, I'm effing miserable about it."
Whoa!
What I want to talk about here is that these celebrities, the ones who are taking these roles now, who seem just giddy at the idea of changing a character, and remember, I am a proponent. Thank you. Thank you. I am a proponent of race swapping when they don't make a big deal about it and they let it be just who the character is and they don't talk about it. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. Gender swapping is a little bit different. But in general, I am more I'm more lenient on that than a lot of other people are. But this is just proof that they do not care about the things that you're passionate about. They do not care about the things that you love. It's people like this. Thank you. That are using it as a means of keeping themselves relevant and building their own public persona, and I hate that. Because they play on your nostalgia, they play on the things that you love, and they act as if they're proponents of it, and they're not. Howard Stern doesn't give a crap about Marvel, and I guarantee you he doesn't know who the hell Doctor Doom is. Okay,
wait, what if he was saying he's miserable about not being able to talk with Robin Quivers that summer? You
cannot
have
honestly.
The nicest
no,
possible
we are not. No, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt today. No.
He's been miserable since he was 17.
Yeah.
Probably even before that. He made a career off of being miserable and making fun of other people and talking crap about people. He's always. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on Hal.
He's such a good guy. Like, he really annoys me. He's pretending to be the bigger person after he has made the most cheap shots and he's been even creeped on people before. He's just a gross person.
And when I say they say here, so here's the statement from Marvel. It says Marvel podcasts on Sirius include Marvel's Wastelander, Marvel Method, Marvel Declassified, and was officially announced back in November of 2020. Beginning today, Sirius XM is the new destination for exclusive new original podcasts for Marvel Entertainment. In addition to Sirius XM's recently announced slate of original podcast series and highly curated selection of popular shows, Sirius XM subscribers will select streaming plans will be able to tune in to exclusive new podcasts like the Marvel Method. So basically, they're doing Marvel podcasts that will do comic storylines like DC is doing. So he's going to play that character here, and it says there's a bunch of tweets here. It says, "Holy crap!" I'm not. So
it's a fictional podcast.
Yeah, it'll be a real podcast about comic storylines.
So
imagine like an audio podcast, like how they used to have radio shows.
So it's not an audio book.
No, it would be a podcast, not like something you buy.
But they're only talking about them. They're not acting.
No, he's going to act in them. He's going to act in it.
Wait, who is the audience for this? Would you ever?
Nobody freaking knows.
To this? No, I don't understand.
I don't know and I love Batman, and I don't know anyone who's watching the DC, who's listening to the DC Batman audio podcast.
You close your eyes and really immerse yourself in it.
I love audiobooks, so I guess there could be a market for that. But a very important part of comics is the visual aspect of it.
I thought the whole point of that was the visual aspect of it.
So, and what I mean by that, they want to do this stuff to build their profile is we have this article which says Howard Stern teases presidential run, announces Bradley Cooper as pick for vice president. Well, you know what? Bradley Cooper is a fantastic actor, but he should get back to working. He should reintroduce that amazing one season of the show Limitless that he made based on his movie and bring that show back and not think about running for president. That's what Bradley Cooper should be doing. So it says, perhaps the next presidential election will involve a multitude of celebrities. should Howard Stern follow through with launching a campaign to become president of the United States, an outspoken critic of former President Donald Trump. Wow, that's stunning and brave. Stern has spoken on a satellite radio podcast about concerns that Trump might be running for office again in 2024. Stern seems to feel that his celebrity status could compete with that of Trump's and is confident that he would smoke the former Celebrity Apprentice host in a presidential election on his show. Well, we get it now. He's insane.
Yeah, if he did run, he'd start doing it. He'd be like, I can't take this anymore. I can't take this anymore, and he'd quit.
If you remember when Trump was originally running, he wasn't getting much traction until the press started reporting on him, like on the crazy stuff he started tweeting. The initial part of his presidential run was fairly benign. It wasn't until he started saying kind of really controversial stuff that it picked up traction.
But he was always kind of a firebrand on Twitter. I don't think that was new in 2015.
I wonder if maybe he was just trying to clean it up for a bit before he started to run and then realized it wasn't going to work and he had to go be who he was. But it says, earlier in the morning I was texting back and forth with someone I was interested in potentially being my vice president when I run. That sounds like an admission of
when
running.
I run.
You said when I run. Are there rules as far as when they can announce and stuff like that?
I don't know. Howard Stern's a liar, so I don't know.
This person texted me and said, I want to congratulate you and you have my vote. Very lovely conversation. And I said, how would you feel about being my vice president? That should immediately give you pause about giving them your vote if then they just kind of casually drop in the idea of you being their vice president.
Hey, Bradley Cooper's a genius, so I understand that his cult love for the dude, but
he was a genius in Limitless, the movie, which is a fantastic
movie. He speaks
movie.
multiple languages, or at least he speaks French, I think, too. He's a very intelligent fellow.
So this is what I mean is Marvel is no longer about comics. It's no longer about making great movies. It's about being a place for Kevin Feige to push their lame MCU in Phase 4, and for celebrities who want to either bolster their image because they haven't reached that level of fame yet, or if you're someone like Howard Stern, you desperately want to stay relevant. You think he wanted to do a Doctor Doom
they're
podcast?
Paying $20 million or something, probably.
It's so embarrassing the lengths that some of these washed up celebrities go to for attention.
Yeah.
And I'm also floored in the first place that there's any audience for a Marvel podcast that's fictionalized, but not an audiobook, but based on comics, but not visual. I really don't understand the point. Also, maybe he just has such a dry sense of humor that this whole when I run thing is he's just trying to get people to tweet about him.
Now here it says Howard says he's already hit up MCU vet Robert Downey Jr. for acting tips. He's even asked Gary to put him in touch with Iron Man director Jon Favreau for more help. Maybe I'm wrong and it was not a serious accident. Maybe it is a video. It does seem weird to me to put Dr. Doom into an audio podcast when Dr. Doom is a pretty big character. You could do that. But nobody wants to see Howard Stern act. I don't know what I want less. Do I want to see Howard Stern act, or do I want to see Howard Stern run for president?
Did you see Private Parts?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was good, personally. I thought it was great, actually.
But
I saw it in the 90s when it came out.
Yeah, I don't know how that would play. It's also funny watching him become kind of a weirdly Puritan person, given that was the opposite of his persona.
I mean, get down with Trump. Trump's a potty mouth, dude. I get that you don't like his politics. I don't know what he doesn't like about him. I mean, I got issues with Trump. Yeah. I think everybody's got issues with everybody.
Issues with someone being seen as more edgy than him.
That's a problem. He's not here on Sirius XM with me. I'm the edgy one in this world.
He thinks he invented it or something.
He's a hypochondriac. Well, they're both hypochondriacs, I think. But Howard's a notorious hypochondriac. Thinks he's sick or afraid of getting sick.
What?
He was big on the vaccines and not going outside and washing his hands and talking to other people is you're dirty, you're dirty.
It's interesting how that differently affected people.
He's a neurotic guy, though. I think that's part of it. Is it less about any specific thing, more about just his own neuroses.
Also, is this a lot of editorializing? Because they said while this actor is a white man, they were talking about Bradley Cooper. Stern feels that he is so beloved by the American people that he'll still help garner a lot of votes. He, Stern? As in Stern, believes that about himself or about Bradley Cooper?
Where is that? I don't have that paragraph. Oh,
in the Movie Web article.
In how far down?
It's below the quote that ends in Supreme Court justices.
Even after sleeping on the issue, Stern has gotten more serious about his potential presidential campaign. He even enlisted A-list actor to serve as his running mate. While the actor is a white man, Stern feels that he is so beloved that These people are insane.
Wait, is that like I still feel like I'm being like punked? Like, is that a joke?
I have no idea.
Did they talk about his race?
Whoever wrote this article
poking fun at like the race issue by saying that, or is he
that
actually serious?
Or is that the MovieWeb article editorializing? Stern feels that he is so beloved with the American people that he'll still help garner a lot of votes, as if they wouldn't vote if he was not. Is he saying that they would vote only if he wasn't a white man? These people are insane. They're mentally ill, and they are racists. Weirdly racists.
So absurd that I'm not. I don't even know what to say.
I in a way, I do feel like we're being punked.
Yeah.
In a way, but they also just suck. So maybe they just suck.
Well, I've got my eye on Howard Stern for 2024. I'm looking forward to his inevitable campaign.
We're in like the back rooms of reality right now. They're towing the line between fake and reality.
Then we're gonna have to be careful about covering it. Me and you are gonna have to be careful about covering it because is it politics? Is it like?
And this
I know pop culture and politics are blending.
Yeah, like when we started the show, that was like the hardest thing for me to figure out was like where does one end and the other one begin? Because like for the last 2 weeks, all we've had is just or week and a half is just Roe v. Wade, celebrities, Roe v. Wade.
Pop culture.
We addressed it to the degree that we felt was appropriate, but the politics is encroaching so far on pop culture. I don't think the other way around.
It bums me out
that it's hard to avoid.
It is pop culture, but it's like the legalization aspect of pop culture.
Yep.
Like
thank you.
When something becomes popular, we codify it into law. You know.
Yeah, and it, like all these movies, like oh, by the way, there's one more womp 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 built into this story, which is Thor: Love and Thunder is a disaster and is being compared to Batman and Robin. Mary is far too young to understand what that means.
Is that the Chris? That old Batman movie with Chris, what's his name?
O'Donnell.
Yeah, Chris O'Donnell.
Yep, the one with Alicia Silverstone.
I remember that being the fall of Batman. That was when it.
Alicia Silverstone was in that?
Yes, she was.
What?
Yep. So it says Thor: Love and Thunder might be the next big failure to come from Kevin Feige's Phase 4, as the flick is being compared to Batman and Robin, which, by the way, I actually liked Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. I think that's an underrated Batman movie.
I saw that.
It's
was that Mr. Freeze?
No, that's Batman and Robin.
That was really bad.
Batman Forever is Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones
that was
as Two-Face.
Tommy, though, went over the top in that movie. He was so fake. Like, he played like a goofy caricature of an actor. Like, it didn't even seem real what he was doing. I remember Jim Carrey said that he came up to him, that Tommy Lee Jones in a restaurant was like, "I do not tolerate your buffoonery." And Jim was like, "What?
What are you talking about?"
Jim was the star of the movie. Tommy didn't like that.
Yeah, and they hated each other. And it's got one of my favorite lines from any movie ever. It's when it's at the very beginning when the security guard goes, "It's boiling acid," which everybody, if you ever watch that movie, you have to watch that scene. It's at the very beginning. So it says, so Christian Toto, who runs a blog that is described as the right take on entertainment. He also wrote a book called Virtue Signaling. It's about Hollywood and virtue signaling, if I remember correctly. He's been on IRL, Christian Toto has. So it says he works for the Daily Wire. Tweeted his reaction to Thor: Love and Thunder, offering that the film is a tonal disaster and more. Saw Thor: Love and Thunder full review next week. Can share that it's way more Batman and Robin than any superhero movie should be. A tonal disaster. There's a lot to say about Taika Waititi and his take on Thor being, in my opinion. I wasn't a huge fan of Thor Ragnarok. I know that's a very popular one that people love because it kind of gave Thor more personality, and I appreciate that. But as far as Taika Waititi as a director, he's kind of hit and miss for me.
Taika Waititi, what else has he done?
I forget what the name of the other big one.
Wait, Thor Ragnarok, what year was that?
2018.
Oh, okay, Taika Waititi did that Hitler movie.
The Hitler movie, yeah.
Do you mean the series Ragnarok?
No, Thor Ragnarok was a movie.
Oh, okay. I just remember a series that was like...
No,
well, it wasn't about Thor, but it was like kind of... Here's this ordinary high school kid who happens to be Thor.
No, that's not this. This is basically it's a lot like the trailer you saw. This one, way bright colors, super upbeat. Whereas, to be fair, Thor and Thor: The Dark World literally will put you to sleep because they're so boring. But in the other celebrity I wanted to mention when talking about, I kind of didn't weave this in as well as I could have. I mentioned Howard Stern. There's a lot to say about Leslie Grace and how she's kind of treating the character of Batgirl, which she's got a Batgirl movie coming out where she's talking about the identity of the character and what it means for us. They're talking about anything but the movie or the actual character. Is Natalie Portman coming back as Jane Foster when clearly she probably does not want to be back as Jane Foster, but because Marvel is so popular, they come back and it's just a recipe for insincerity. So we will see where it goes. And also, do you even care about gay Spider-Man? I don't care about
gay Spider-Man.
They're doing
I just want to know why the hand on the hip.
Yeah, they're doing a mini series, Edge of the Spider-Verse #5, which created a character called Web Weaver. And it's very, very, to be fair, he points out, he says, this isn't meant to be for all gay people. It's literally supposed to be a very specific subsect. So I can appreciate that the author's not saying like,
what subsect?
They're saying that these are for ones that might be more feminine or
yes.
like that way.
When I looked at the picture, I don't know if you're showing it.
Yes, I
am. Going to. It's an effeminate-looking Spider-Man. It doesn't mean that the Spider-Man is gay or straight. It's just an effeminate-looking Spider-Man.
But
maybe more scary.
But the point is like, I don't care. Like, I just don't know why you can't just make a different character this way.
Sure.
It makes no sense to me. I know why they're doing it because I'm not stupid. I know they're doing it because it's cultural enforcement and they're pushing it on to the public. That's fine if you want to create new characters.
Make a guy called Lightning that can skate on lightning.
That'd be cool.
Just do random stuff, guys. Come on, you own Marvel. Do something with it.
There's a lot of they ruined Iceman. There's so many characters that they could do that already exist that they just don't because they don't have the creative capacity or the patience to wait for new characters to grow bigger. I don't care about this, but I did want to at least mention it. It is relevant, but nobody cares if your character is gay. They care that you take beloved characters that were already a certain way that people have grown attached through years of time spent in the cultural consciousness and then change them for modern political ends. Nobody likes that.
I've been thinking about law, like entertainment law, because I've been looking at contracts and just kind of perusing contracts. And some of them will say we own, like, so for instance, when the guy that plays Thor did Thor, Marvel or Disney had him sign a contract, probably said, we own the rights to your likeness for this movie forevermore, for infinity and forever in the future, through all universes. And you're like, through all universes, what are they even talking about? And then I realized, like, dude, they're talking about virtual reality and the metaverse and deepfakes because they own that guy. What's the name of the actor?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. They own his likeness forever, and they can make a virtual reality deepfake of him saying whatever they want him to say.
They just re-signed a contract for like Stan Lee's estate, where they get to do that with Stan Lee, like at the theme parks and stuff like that.
And they will have him say things he doesn't agree with in the future after he's dead.
Freaking terrifying.
And so these entertainment laws need to be rewritten. These contracts need to be heavily scrutinized and rewritten because that can't stand.
Mm-hmm. Let's do some super chats.
Yeah, on that disturbing note, Waffle Sensei, the beloved and empirical, said, "Bold of you to disagree with someone with empirical in their name. I would use Top Gun as a good example of a good movie to get into China."
I love that movie.
They got into China?
No, it did not.
Yeah,
did not.
I don't think they did.
They were never going to let.
Waffle Sensei, the empirical.
Who were the villains in Top Gun? I didn't see it.
Generic.
They went out of their way to make them extremely nondescript.
To the point where they just called them the enemy, and when they show the enemy fighter pilots, they use black face masks so you can't even see what they look like.
They did that in the first one. But they knew they were Russian
They
MiGs.
said, they mentioned
saw the black
Russia.
face masks.
But they don't mention Russia. They just go, the enemy's target is here. They literally go out of their way.
Wow.
One of the things on IMDb pointed out that it had to be, what was that country? It wasn't Russia, but it was...
Iran?
Iran, because they had F-14s, and that was the only other country that had F-14s besides us.
I guess in a way it is political propaganda to choose what country you want to be your enemy in a movie.
I mean, the thing is, though, it's just like, I would rather they just picked.
Just make aliens.
Even though they made the enemy nondescript, people still assumed it was Russia and made articles about, like, it's so great that they made Russia the enemy.
Yeah.
No one listens or cares anyway.
Because there was snow on the ground, and snow means Russia.
Snow equals Russia.
The first one was interesting because they were Russians, but it was during the Cold War, it was after the Cold War, so no one really thought it was about a war. It was just about like a training exercise gone wrong, kind of like miscommunication between the countries. It was kind of cool.
Yep, I love the first Top Gun.
Oh, so freaking good, man. Anthony Edwards. So you had that superstar as the second character, which made the movie great. I don't know if this new one, all I see is Tom Cruise. I haven't seen like another actor. They got a guy that looks like Anthony Edwards when he was young.
Miles Teller. And
he has the mustache like Anthony Edwards. Like
they have two of them. Two of the guys in that movie look like could have easily played his character
Goose.
in there. And they like there was a great meme. It says like where it shows like Goose and it's like the top of the thing where he hits his head, and it's like that's supposed to be like his mortal enemy. And
that's funny. And Meg Ryan, they had Meg Ryan. I mean, she was spectacular.
They didn't bring her back, and they didn't bring back Karen Gillis either. But they had Jennifer Connelly in the new one, and it's great. Jennifer Connelly plays the admiral's daughter that gets mentioned at the very beginning of the first Top Gun. Oh, yep. Yeah. So some more.
Waffle Sensei also said, "I'm talking about the Chinese people, not the CCP."
Yes.
Yeah, I was just saying that when you say American values, just because we can't agree on what those are anymore, we can't agree on like what movies are going to propagate them in another country.
Yeah.
Or should. I don't know if we should. Unavailable ID name said, the erasure of redheads in Hollywood needs to stop.
The ginger side is absolutely a real thing. If you ever want to go up and look up ginger side on Google and look at the picture of all the actors that have replaced redheads in Hollywood, it's really funny. There's a show called The Mentalist, which had a redhead character in literally every episode because the name of the long-term serial killer that they're chasing in it is called Red John, and then there's a main character that's red, and there's a redhead in every episode. That was like the last time that Hollywood actually cared about redheads. Really. So they just replaced in The Little Mermaid. They've got Halle Bailey playing Ariel. So
and there are tons of other examples of ginger characters being changed.
Jimmy from DC. I almost say Jimmy Palmer. Jimmy Palmer's a different person. But yeah, it's all sorts of examples of the redheads are just gone from Hollywood.
Sad.
Yeah.
Mr. Y said, keep celebrities out of politics. Let normal people run for office. It's how our nation was originally supposed to be operated by the common man.
That's interesting because like Trump is both because he was a successful businessman, and you would have wanted a businessman back. You know, that was not uncommon for people, you know, with strong businesses to go and serve in politics. But he just happened to build a business that was built around media empire, so it's a little bit different.
Built around him,
yes,
like his name.
He is like one of my favorite.
Unique situation.
One of my favorite things, like to explain to people, is like if you just accept that he's egotistical, it gets a lot easier to put up with him if you just accept that that's who he is. And like when Roe v. Wade got overturned, he made it all about him. It was hilarious. Like, it was my favorite part. Like, because I just laughed because I'm like, even no matter what cataclysmic thing happens, it becomes about him, and I can almost appreciate it. He's like, this is a great day for the lives of the unborn. ... And it's only because of me and the Supreme Court justices that I nominated. Like, that's fine. That's like, if you accept him for who he is, it's fine.
Yeah. Mr. Weiss said, join the Libertarian Party.
Mary will never.
I'm never going to do that. Sorry. Badaff said, would you rather watch Kenobi again, listen to Marvel's podcast, or get choked by Ezra Miller?
Choked by Ezra Miller. I still think that Ezra Miller is probably not that strong. So depending on if I can get away quick enough.
I don't know. I think he's a pretty big guy, right?
Do you know how long it took me to get through every episode of Kenobi? I'd have to pause it.
You probably had to work out a lot for the Flash role.
And how long would the choking happen? Like
that
less
video,
than 20 seconds? Less than 10 seconds?
The video didn't show the whole thing. He was choking her for longer than
I'd actually rather be, as long as he's not going to break my trachea, choked for like 10 seconds than watch 10 hours of a crappy
choked by
show.
Ezra Miller is a great story, so let's go with that.
What was the third option?
Getting choked by Ezra Miller.
No,
the second option was listening to Marvel's podcast.
No, I don't want to hear anything from the Marvel or any of the worst is like Marvel has like Slice of Life podcast too, where they talk about lifestyle stuff. Like it's what
does that have to do with Marvel?
Because they want to be a lifestyle company. They don't want to just be like an entertainment brand.
Disney wants to be a government.
What does that
mean? Yeah, it means nothing. They're awful. It's Sana Amanat. Sana Amanat's
I'm going to start calling Marvel Disney because they're just basically a skin suit for Disney right now.
It's what it is. Pixar too. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.